Saturday. Welcome to Dr. J's Prescription for Health. I'm your host, Dr. Malia Jensen. This is my co-host, Tucker. He is co-hosting from heaven. All right. It says to hang on. We're telling our followers. Good morning, Lucy. All right. Lucy is one of my moderators. Lucy is a blue wrencher, one of my blue shields. So I want to thank her, and you guys should please thank her for being here. We'll wait for people to jump on here. We got a topic today that I just want to basically continue to review. Lately, I have noticed on my reels, which I'm getting pretty deep in cholesterol and heart disease, heart attacks and strokes. I'm getting into how to test for it, how to see what our risks are. And it's getting all of you guys, thank you, Nina. It's getting all of you guys more worried. And I understand the fear. The fear is because the number one cause of death in the United States is heart disease. And I see a lot of frustration on social media to my posts where they say either all of you doctors don't know anything or you're just lying to us. And here's where here's where I want to bring this to light. Most of you see doctors as an authority figure. There is an authority crisis, however. Medicine is not fixed. What I knew 4 years ago and thought that I was saving lives and helping you guys navigate your healthcare, I could have been wrong. Since 4 years have gone by, I'm learning more and more. And so are you guys because I'm sharing this information. Because medicine isn't fixed or set in stone, we have many doctors that are still practicing with software brain that hasn't been updated for 30 years. They are still practicing consensus medicine. They are still practicing standard of care. And the doctors or the providers who aren't doing this, who have stepped out of the box, who've stepped out of the matrix, are called quacks or they're misrepresenting things. They're giving misinformation. They're doing all of these things because it is going against consensus, going against the tribe. You're an outcast, okay? Many of you also think that if you're not a cardiologist, you shouldn't talk about heart disease. The people I am talking to right now as my clients in individual consultations are very, very intelligent. They know what's going on. You know what's going on if you're listening to me. You don't even have to listen to me. You can listen to all the other doctors and you know what's going on. Do you have to have letters behind your name to prove that you know what's going on? I think not. Remember, you're updating your software every single day. You're gonna be on this journey with me. We're gonna find out a little more new information. And then you know what, you guys? It's gonna be outdated. Something else is going to happen. We're gonna find something else out, and it's gonna change what we believed or thought was right. How many, 4 years ago, 1 year ago, 6 months ago? It's changing. So I'm glad you guys are on this journey with me because we can talk about it. Over the last week, I have had some wonderful consultations where we actually went back and forth with our brains, thinking up things like, why could this be happening? And my little bit of knowledge helped them, and their little bit of knowledge helped me. It spurred my memory, it spurred my what I know, and it brought it all together, and we spent the time together connecting dots. And that's what this is about. I don't pretend nor claim to know everything. I'm learning from you guys. As long as it is constructive and not, name calling or you're wrong. I might be wrong. You're right. But does that help the situation? No. To use attacks or bullying does not help advance what we need to figure out. And that is to help you guys, if you want, navigate your health and prevent or prevent the progression of the number one cause of death, and that is right now heart attacks and strokes. So let's get into where we're at with you guys' questions online. The questions that you're having online is regards to a calcium score. You guys have to remember or keep this in mind that a calcium score greater than 0, it could be a 1 or it could be 1,000. It is a history book. It is indicating or indicative of injury that happened in your past. It happened in your past. You cannot change it. Once you have hard calcification, the likelihood of decreasing concrete is pretty minimal. What we want to do is decrease soft plaque. But first, you must find out if you have soft plaque. Do you have soft plaque? How do you know? More and more, we are getting advanced scanning where we can look at whether or not we have soft plaque. We can get a CT angiogram. And now we can get a CT angiogram with something called Clearly. And they are going to make a lot of bucks on you guys. They are. All right. But Clearly is an AI platform that shows volume of soft plaque versus volume of calcified plaque. If the CT angiogram with Clearly, Cleerly, you have to go to their website, punch in your zip code, and see where the closest Clearly place testing is located. Okay, if that's what you want. So if the CT angiogram with Clearly, Cleerly, clearly shows mostly calcified plaque, then honestly, you guys, you're in pretty good shape. That old history book is concrete, and the chances of it breaking off is pretty small. Now, if it is soft plaque, we need to find out the cause, right? There is a cause. Yes, capons, it's Cleerly, Cleerly. If there is soft plaque found on this Clearly AI software program of your CT angiogram, we have to find out the cause of the injury to the lining of the artery. If you have soft plaque, there has to be an injury. There has to be a cut. There has to be a cut in the inner lining of the artery to cause an injury, to cause the Band-Aid plaque. We got to find the injury. And that, you guys, is where I'm really digging in deep with you guys on our consultations, is going through what is the injury. Like this past week, we discussed infections. There was a lot of infections, okay? There's Lyme, there's mold, there's other pathogens, there's candida and fungus, there's viruses, there's bacteria. These hidden infections that you might not know you have could be causing the injury, right? What about your gut? The gut, what about leaky gut? What about testing for leaky gut? What about bacterial endotoxins? Did you know that your gut has bacteria in it? I'm sure you knew that. But there are certain gram-negative bacteria that secrete endotoxins. Endo, inside, toxins, obviously a toxin. So they secrete these little bad bugs in you, these bad boys secrete toxins. They're called endotoxins. And they cause inflammation all over your body, but especially in artery lining. Then you got alcohol and smoking and sugar and insulin, and you got nanoplastics and heavy metals and seed oils. All of these things can cause an injury. And the injury has to be continuous. If you just have a one time, you go out binge drinking, you probably got 7 days and it's healed up. Okay. I don't know the timeline. I'm just saying. But if you drank every single day, you're getting consistent and constant injury to the lining of your arteries. Okay. What about your thyroid? What if your thyroid is underactive? You guys have told me that your doctors only check for a TSH. How do you know anything from just a TSH? In fact, that is not even a thyroid hormone. It's actually a brain hormone, a pituitary hormone. So, you guys are educating yourself, and that makes me so, so happy. Okay. If you find out on the clearly that there is soft plaque and you know what the injury is and you reverse it, now it's time for your immune system to get into gear. Your immune system is either for you or against you. Okay. If you have macrophages, those are white blood cells in your body. When I talk about a macrophage, and this is all new stuff, I could be totally off base, you guys, but we got to start thinking somewhere. We have to start talking about why is our immune system going against us in our arteries? Why is our immune system going against us in our thyroid or any other immune system disorder, immunosuppressive disorder? Why? We need to get our active guys going for us. And so the only way we can turn the switch on our immune system is to have a perfect little environment. Just like you can't grow grass seed without water and maybe some sun, you're not going to get good macrophages eating up the soft plaque if the environment isn't right. Say it's too cold or not enough water or whatever it is, okay? So the the environment that an M2 macrophage, part of our immune system, needs it to do its job is when there is low sugar, low insulin. If sugar and insulin are high, M2 good guy macrophages of our immune system cannot take care of that soft plaque. And what I mean by they can't eat it up. They can't eat the soft plaque. That's called effercytosis, by the way, if you need to know a term. Effer, cytosis, Cytosis, a condition of eating up plaque, eating up dead cells. When we have effercytosis by an M2 macrophage, we get regression of the soft plaque. If the environment is not good for M2 macrophages, it's very good for M1. And those M1 macrophages are inflammatory. This is why I'm talking about environment. Nowhere did I say, let's lower LDL cholesterol. It's nowhere even on remotely on the map right now for me. Okay. Now, some of you will get your cholesterol panel, and I'm good with that. First, let me make sure. I thought I saw a question in here. How long does it take for soft plaque to turn to hard plaque? Nina, maybe we don't want all of our soft plaque to turn to hard plaque, although it will. But that is an over time thing. You know that hard plaque takes years to develop. That's why I called hard plaque CAC score above 0 as a history book. It's talking about injury of the past. Okay. So hard plaquing takes years. So in the meantime, Nina, we're trying to get rid of the soft plaque. Our goal is to get rid of the mushy, soft core, suck it, drain it, whatever we need to do. You can't uncalcify whatever scar you have, but you can drain what I consider the abscess, the soft, mushy plaque. When we do that, some of it, Nina, is going to get calcified. That is a good thing. That is a real good thing because our clearly now is going to um, is going to show that most or all of your volume is hard plaque. And that, like I said, you're in good shape. Now, somebody, Shift Good, just said, clearly just got caught lying about their results. I didn't know that, Shift Good, and I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. There really isn't anything else on the market that is going head to head with Clearly. So that is sad, Shift Good, if that is the case, that the Clearly software is not up to par. That's discouraging. Finding that out. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, but that makes me sad. Um, it isn't going to change whether or not what the treatment is or how we go about our daily lives. Let's just say we didn't have the Clearly. Okay, Shift Good, let's just say that we know, let's just say we can speculate that we have soft plaque. Do we want to rely on that soft plaque just calcifying? Because you have to understand this. The vessel wall can only get so big. Okay, the vessel wall, when it starts to bulge, when it bulges, say outward, when it bulges outward, it's actually making room for the soft plaque. When we see regression of that soft plaque, the the artery actually goes back to normal. It starts to shrink down, and it can be under less pressure. We don't necessarily want hard arteries throughout our body. And I guess another thing that I should mention, in regards to an injury to the lining of the artery, pressure, high blood pressure. But it kind of goes along with the fact that I mentioned insulin and sugar. Most high blood pressures, you guys, we call it as doctors essential hypertension, meaning obviously we don't know what caused it, but we do know what caused it. It's caused for the most part, by high sugar. When sugar is high, insulin is high. When insulin is high, it causes sodium and water retention, and this increases blood volume. And when you have high blood volume, you have high blood pressure. So doctors go and give you medicines to lower water because you have edema. Edema is swelling like in your legs and ankles. So we give you a medicine, like a diuretic. Okay. I want to apologize. We got to start over on Instagram. Sorry, YouTubers, but just bear with me a bit. Um, okay. We're back on live with Instagram. I do apologize. There's not a weekend that goes by now that we haven't gotten thrown off of Instagram. So thank you guys for rejoining. I haven't moved forward yet. I was just kind of waiting for everyone else to get back on. I do apologize. Mina, thank you for being here. And Diane, thank you for being here. I do apologize for the disruption in the Instagram post, but we're talking about essential hypertension. Essential, doctors say we don't know, but here's your blood pressure medicine. But we do know most likely cause is that it is from high sugar, high insulin, causes salt and water retention. The salt and water retention causes increased blood volume, and the blood volume increases the blood pressure. So if we go and lower blood sugar, um, if we lower blood sugar, we will lower insulin, and that drop in insulin will cause a drop or a release of the stored pathologic water that's in your lower extremities. So lower insulin, we drop water, we drop salt. So when you guys are going to a ketogenic diet, be sure to replace the salt. Okay. Um, yeah, I guess with doctors, when you get high blood pressure or you got high blood volume, they're going to try to decrease the blood volume instead of telling you what's causing it. And that is the standard of care model. You guys are just basically being treated um, with a bunch of band-aids and never know what is actually causing the things that you can change. You can cause reversal of all of these things or regression of plaque, and you just don't know it because they've told you that you can't. Some of you guys are under such belief that once you get diabetes, you'll always have diabetes. That's not true. Some people think that you have plaque in your arteries and you can never, you can never get rid of it. It's concrete and you can never reverse it or stabilize it. That's not true either. And so, um, I guess where I want to go from right here is my listeners who have gone into a ketogenic diet. But first, I just want to go and read some of the questions. Summer asks, can we reverse heart disease or heart failure? I have seen improvements in ejection fractions on echo with a change of diet. If you remove the pressure, if you remove the sugar and the insulin and the injuries, the inflammation, then yes, I believe our heart can recover. I don't know how far gone it is, Summer. I just don't know. Um, I've honestly have never really studied in depth heart function, the electrical and the plumbing. I know a lot, but I don't know enough to tell you, is the heart able to remodel itself? Somehow I think yes, because the arteries can remodel. You can go from a positive bulge to a negative bulge in the artery and stabilize it. So why couldn't you with the heart? Or how about this, Summer Love? What if we just stopped the progression and we were stable? You caught it early. You have an ejection fraction of 40 instead of 60, and you stayed stable at 40. Maybe you got a little bit better. Maybe you started exercising. Maybe you went with a ketogenic diet. Remember, ketones are fuel for the heart. With ketones, you can increase stroke volume and cardiac output. So that's the whole thing with heart failure is you're decreasing cardiac output and decreasing stroke volume. So if you gave your body, your heart, a bunch of ketones, you were in ketogenesis, you could see increasing stroke volume and increasing cardiac output. And yeah, that is reversal, isn't it? So there's a lot here that we're using our brains for. That was a great question, Summer Love. I appreciate that. Um, Mac says grapefruit will lower blood pressure. Also, a great product by Umzu called Redwood with dilate veins and increase blood oxygen. But Mac, you're just under the influence of give a medicine or a supplement or something to fix the problem. You're just like pharmakia, no matter what it is, if it's a pharmaceutical or if it's a supplement. Why not look for the injury that's causing high blood pressure? What caused pressure? Are you going to continue with a high insulin, high sugar diet with lots of seed oils and just take some grapefruit? I just don't think that that's the answer, Mac. But I appreciate you adding that. That's awesome. Oh, Lucy says, and I want to reiterate, if you have a question, you guys put a QQQ, or, if you want your question answered first, do a super chat. If you want to help this channel, please do a super sticker. It helps the channels. Those are on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube and Instagram right now. On Instagram, there's a link in my bio. You can do a PayPal donation. You can just subscribe, just, for $2 a month. And that over time is $24 for the whole year. But if 3,000 people did $24 the whole year, it sure would help this channel be better. I don't know. I don't know what it would do for me. I'm going to continue to read and learn and share. That's what I find great joy. Um, yes, Mac, very good point. Mac says ketones are great, but reaching autophagy is much better. Now, when you have ketones, you are actually performing autophagy. There are ways to get to autophagy. You cannot eat. That's called fasting. Fasting will get you into the fastest autophagy. You can also get rid of sugar and insulin, which now goes into ketosis, and that leads to autophagy. So thanks for bringing that Mac sauce to my attention. Mac, do you need to, maybe Lucy needs to do something about that because we don't need any derogatory. I'm not going to use sarcasm or any derogatory ways to discuss things. We can do it nicely, but you being derogatory, I don't like that. Thank you, Lucy. I appreciate that. Um, Mina, I use cold pressed sesame seed oil for cooking. Your thoughts would be greatly appreciated. Um, I discourage any use of oils. I believe they are easily oxidized. Um, I don't want any seed oils at all in my body. Now, if that's what you prefer, that's fine. I prefer to use animal fats for cooking: lard, tallow, ghee, butter for cooking. I do not use any oils. Okay. I don't use any oils. All right. Um, can you tell me about silica? I have been listening. That is one mineral we should take to help mitigate all the chemicals they spray in the air. I have no idea. I'm guessing silica is like something like zeolite. You know, like zeolite is this filter device that traps heavy metals. And silica could be like that. I don't know. I'd have to look into it, Lucy, in regards to that and how I'm guessing it somehow attracts. But don't we need some metals? Like, don't we need some iron? If we got rid of all of the iron, if we got rid of all of the copper, if we got rid of, so should we be taking these binders? I'm not sure. I just don't know the answer. And I don't want to pretend like I do, Lucy, but we just have to say, okay, if something sounds really, really good, could it be causing something that's really, really bad? And that's where I just get, before we start taking all of these supplements, is where do we stand? Where do we stand there? We first need to take things away. We need to take things away. And another thing, Lucy, that that brings to my attention is, how are we getting all of the trapped gunk in our body? Why isn't our body good enough to get rid of it? And why would we need to add a supplement to help us get rid of it? Those are my questions. Okay. Yep, Lucy, let's look it up. And you send me stuff, we can chat back and forth. I appreciate that. Penny says, I believe I read that Sig 2 Scold help heart failure by remodeling the heart itself. What is, Penny? I'm not understanding it's a product or what is it? Help me out. Ah, Mina. Yes, all animals have saturated fat. All animals have monounsaturated fat. All animals have polyunsaturated fat. It's in the perfect combination. So yes, ghee has saturated fat, and yes, it is okay. And so this brings me to the concept of the culture that we live in that has told Mina and many others that saturated fat is bad for us. Saturated fat is stable. Saturated fat is not only in animals, it's actually in plants. In fact, avocado has more saturated fat than ghee. Avocado and coconut have more saturated fat than a ribeye steak. So you people feel that it's good to eat a plant saturated fat, but not an animal saturated fat. So does your body know the difference? We cannot be afraid of saturated fat because saturated fat is a stable fat. A monounsaturated fat is kind of unstable. It has one double bond that can be oxidized. A polyunsaturated fat has many double bonds that can be oxidized. Now, does that mean that we don't need any polyunsaturated fats? Absolutely not. We need them. They're essential. You've heard of omega-3 and you've heard of omega-6. You've heard of omega-9s and probably others. So we need them or we would die. We just don't need as many of certain kinds that we're getting and not enough of certain kinds that we're not getting. Namely, we're getting too many omega-6 linoleic acid as compared to omega-3s. Omega-3s have been shown to be less inflammatory, and omega-6 have been shown to be more inflammatory. So we want a 1-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to 3. All right. Summer says, are there any high fiber foods you recommend for slow metabolism? What do you mean by slow metabolism? Because when I think fiber, I think of gut mobility. Is that what you're saying? Summer, if you just add to it, I can help you. I can try to help you out. Um, Thought Machine says SGLT2 inhibitors like Jardiance. What about it? Finish your question. I don't know. Um, okay. This is a okay. Let me read this question. Let me say. Millicent says there is no cholesterol in AVO. AVO, is that it has stigmasterol. Okay. When where how do I okay, cholesterols. Cholesterols are sterols and there are different sterols. Okay. If we are checking markers, oh geez. Instagram just went done did again it again. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hmm. YouTubers are getting the full 9 yards, but not the Instagrammers. Okay. I'll wait for these guys to jump back on. Instagram is kind of messing with us today, but we are talking about cholesterol and we're talking about cholesterol markers. There are markers, main markers of cholesterol synthesis in the liver. Okay, so the liver makes cholesterol, and there are markers of cholesterol synthesis by the liver. One is desmosterol, another is lathosterol. I'm sorry if I don't pronounce it correctly, okay? Now, desmosterol and lathosterol are markers of cholesterol synthesis by the liver. Then we have markers of clearance of cholesterol, and those are beta sitosterol and camposterol. They're if cholesterol synthesis, your liver synthesizing cholesterol is low, it tells us that the liver is not overproducing cholesterol. So if you get lab markers, like from, I don't know if it's the Cleveland Clinic or these heart tests, but you can get cholesterol markers. It's a cholesterol marker test. Maybe you guys don't want to get in deep to all of that, but plant sterols, we don't break down. Okay, we can't efficiently use cholesterol from, it's not cholesterol, it's plant sterols. We can't use plant sterols for our hormone production and all of these things, okay? We can't use steroid. We are not a plant. We are an animal. So that's why I always go to cholesterol. But nonetheless, you guys, if you want our plant-based, go for the plant sterols. If you want to inject plant sterols into your body to get your hormones up, go for it. You know, those are things that you have to decide on your own. But if we're talking about, you know, our liver is not the problem producing cholesterol. It's not overproducing. So we got the synthesis markers are down. Okay. And if the absorption markers are high, the body is really just basically holding on to LDL. It's not going back to the liver and it's not getting escorted out of our body through bile. So I don't know if that is the question that you, or you know, the statement that you're wanting to make. You can either decide on a couple of different. Well, there's option one is an animal-based diet. Option two is a plant-based diet, and then option three is everything in between. So if you're okay with putting plant sterols in your body, then go for it. Okay. I will tell you that we do not have the ability to break down have the ability to break down plants. We don't. It's the bacteria in us that ferment, but the plants that go in through our mouth go out through our butthole as waste. And you are basically just feeding bacteria in your bowel. Okay. Summer says, I only have one bowel movement a day. Okay. And I struggle with constipation. Okay, so I was looking to incorporate more fiber. Okay, is constipation because you're having symptoms like pain and cramping? Or is constipation a definition of frequency of bowel movement? So if you have a bowel movement every other day or every day, are you having symptoms of constipation? Because constipation does not define frequency. So again, which is it that, okay, okay. Correct, Lucy. Plants do not use cholesterol as their main sterol. Correct, because plants are not animals. Yes, they use phytosterols. Right, exactly. Phytoplant sterols instead of cholesterol, which is animals. Right. Okay. Yes. Perfect. Okay. Back to the questions. Back to the Instagrammers. LDL 3 months ago was 934. Been eating sardines and salmon added in with other protein, especially beef. Numbers are now 680. LDL and xanthelasmas are going down around the eyes. Is that 680 LDL still high? I would say, are your symptoms still there? Now, if all you are eating, let's just say staying keto is the person who is I'm guessing you're animal based. So your staying keto is kind of staying carnivore. You might be that person who's lean. You might be a lean muscle hyper responders. And how I describe this, and I don't know you staying keto, I don't know what your history is, but you could be that high traffic phenotype where you remember the liver, every LDL originates from a VLDL. The liver packages up fatty acids inside what is called a VLDL, very low density lipoprotein. The liver packages up fatty acids into a VLDL so it can send it out to the periphery, the muscles and the fat cells as a fuel. As the VLDL dumps off its triglycerides, it becomes an intermediate density lipoprotein. As it dumps off more triglycerides, it becomes an LDL cholesterol protein, an LDL lipoprotein. Now, that LDL is now just filled with cholesterol, and it delivers the cholesterol to cells as well that need it for other processes like our cell membranes. Then that LDL is supposed to go back to the liver and be taken up and either recycled or eliminated via bile. Okay. Now, if you are a person where the liver is in this, I'm not saying that your liver's sick, it could well be sick, but it could be full and it closes its doors to receiving the LDL that was in the bloodstream. The LDL cannot get into the liver. So it keeps circling its house. The liver is its home. So it keeps circling. In the meantime, you have continued to eat fat and the liver packages up in VLDL and continues to send those out into the bloodstream. If those VLDLs collide and bump into LDLs because the traffic is too thick, something not so good can happen. That VLDL can transfer triglycerides into the LDL that's empty. The LDL was never meant to carry triglycerides. Remember, an LDL was a VLDL. So the VLDL was full of the triglycerides and cholesterol, and it dumped off to the triglycerides to the cells that needed it, like the muscles and the fat. But if they're full, the muscles and the fat, the triglycerides can get dumped into the LDLs. Not a good thing. And the LDL will dump its cholesterol back into the VLDL. Not a good thing. This is because of a protein or an enzyme, a protein called CETP, C-E-T-P. CETP allows that conversion when the VLDL bumps into the LDL. They exchange components, which they're not supposed to do. That is via a mechanism called CETP, C-E-T-P. Now that LDL is carrying triglycerides that it was never meant to occur. And another enzyme that's involved in all of this is hepatic lipase. Hepatic lipase strips whatever cholesterol is left from the LDL, strips it. And that is not a good thing. Now the LDL is naked. He's naked, sitting with a bunch of triglycerides inside of him. And now he is exposed. He's trying to dump off the cholesterol and he can get damaged. He has no protection. He has no fat around his membrane, no cholesterol, and he can get damaged, and that's called oxidation. And when he gets oxidized, he becomes small, dense, and sticky. Okay? This is a problem not only for people who eat a lot of carbs, but people who are lean muscle, lean mass hyperresponders. Okay? Now, are all people with small, dense LDLs going to get heart disease? No. How do you know if you have small, dense LDLs? The only way is to get a advanced lipid test. So staying keto, find out what your LDLs are. Are they all big, giant, fluffy, buoyant LDLs? Or do you have a bunch of small, dense LDLs? If you do, it is very important that your environment is not causing any injury. If you have an injury to the lining of the artery, you smoke, you drink, or you're around a bunch of glyphosate or whatever it is, you get an infection, Oh, geez, we just got thrown off of Instagram again. I'll continue with if that those injury, if there's an injury to the lining of the artery, that is when those small dense LDLs become a big problem, okay? How can we tell if we have a receptor problem on the liver that's the doors are closed, or we're just producing too much? And that's where we check the markers of synthesis versus the markers of absorption. That's how I got into that, okay? Um, Big homie, no, because it's broken up too many times. It's impossible to, the recordings are all broken. So I would have to record and post all four. It's been 4 times we've been thrown off. So I do apologize. You can catch the full recording on YouTube at Iron Lady Doc, Iron Lady Doc Malia Jensen. So that's where you can find the full recording. And I do apologize. This is nothing I'm doing. If it was something I'm doing or something with my internet, YouTube would be throwing itself off as well. And it's not. I haven't had any problems with YouTube. So I don't know what it is about Instagram. I've been trying to look into it. So I do apologize. Please accept my apology. Um, okay. Where do we go from here? If you're if you're staying keto, I think it was staying keto, and you have this high of LDL, and they said when it came down, they actually added in wild caught fish. What I would suggest to somebody like staying keto, where the LDLs are going up that high, do you go on a statin? No, because it's not an LDL problem, it's a liver problem. Okay. The liver receptors are downregulated. They're not accepting the LDLs. It's not that the LDLs are a problem, but if they are, it's because they hung out too much in the bloodstream and then they can get exposed to the environment. So where do we go from here for like staying keto with these high LDLs? I say get advanced lipid test. All right, get an advanced lipid test and see where is it, where is your LDLs? What size are they? Okay. Then could you get a CAC score, a calcium scoring test? Absolutely. Can you get a CT angiogram with clearly? Absolutely. Okay. That's where you go. Now, if if I had a 680 LDL, this is what I would do. I would lower the amount of saturated fat I was intaking. I would lower my butter. I would lower my fatty ribeyes and fatty New York strips and fatty hamburger, and I would go to lean sources. I would go to 93% ground beef. I would eat filet instead of, yeah, thank you, Lucy. Please hit the like button, you guys. Hit the like, hit the subscribe if you've not already subscribed. I'd really appreciate it. Go for it. I see 15 thumbs up right now, and I think there are more than 15 people listening. So please hit the like button right now. That would help. On Instagram, it's the heart button. There you go. I love to see the flying hearts. Okay. Um, let's see. Okay. Yeah, Melanie, I can go over that again, but right now I just want to explain to you that if you are eating a lot of saturated fat and your liver have downregulated the receptors, or you don't have as many receptors as you do LDL particles. So you have to have, let's give you an example. If you have 10 doors on your liver and you have 100 LDLs, there's going to be a traffic jam. 100 LDLs can't get in through 10 doors very easily. So how can you upregulate the number of LDL receptors, and how do you open the doors on the liver itself? That's where our thinking process is. Here's what I would say first and foremost is lower the amount of saturated fat, okay, that's coming in. You could go to some monounsaturated fat. You could go to, I mean, the best of the best olive oils. I can't stand oils, but that is a monounsaturated fat. You could go to macadamia nuts. You could go to avocado. So say you were eating 100 grams of saturated fat a day. Maybe your program is going to look like 50-50, 50 grams of saturated, 50 grams of monounsaturated. Okay. Now, in those two forms, you're going to get some polyunsaturated. There's not just one source of monos and one source of polys and one source of sats. That's not how it works. Okay. So in staying ketos, what they might want to do is significantly lower saturated fat, allow the clearance of those LDLs, and kind of start over, reset things. Okay. But going on a statin might lower the amount of LDLs being produced, but they're still in circulation, and the liver is still packaging up fuel in the form of VLDLs. So I'm just not completely on board with taking a medication that causes a lot of side effects when there's, uh, simply, I don't need to tell staying keto to go off of an animal-based diet. I just need to have staying keto, decrease the amount of saturated fat. Their body just can't handle it, can't deal with it. Is that making sense? Um, Meme says, is saturated fat from milk-based products, which is an animal, and meat the same? Because I think they're not. They act very differently. So explain, Meme, how is it acting differently for you? Yep, Millicent, you can get fat adapted. So your body's going to be using fat, breaking it down for ketones, right? And ketones are going to supply your energy. I get it. And I agree that statins are over prescribed. But we're talking about a rare breed, Millicent. The rare breed is somebody like staying keto. The rare breed is a guy or gal like staying keto, where their liver is downregulated. They're not damaged. The receptors are not damaged. They're just hibernating. So it's these times where I want each of you to check your thyroid. Check your thyroid. Check for leaky gut and LPS. Check for infections, like somebody just mentioned about parasites or mold or fungus or viruses, bacteria, LPS, endotoxins. All of these things we need to check for. Then you can check the markers of synthesis, Melanie. The markers of synthesis is desmosterol, DESMO sterol, desmosterol, and lathosterol, LATHO sterol, latho, something like that. Okay. Then you can check a couple markers for absorption, which is your beta sitosterols and campesterol, CAMP. All of these sterols, they're confusing. And honestly, I remember 10 years ago, I was checking all of these things and didn't for the life of me know what I was doing. I was checking them and I was using a significantly well in advanced lab of its time, well advanced in time, that they couldn't even explain it to me easily or fast enough so I could get it. All I would see is they would give me a description. Yeah, your absorption markers are high. Uh-oh, the body's holding on to LDL. And then this is the person that needs to be on a statin. See, it was giving you all of the information, but telling you, uh-oh, you better get your LDLs down. Let's give you a statin. No, let's change the production. Let's change the the way we deal with the LDLs getting back to the liver. Those are my thoughts. Yeah, I agree, Lucy. Fasting is great, but how you break your fast is the most important thing. Um, okay. Meme says, so meme was one asking about the dairy saturated fat the versus the like an other part of a other part of the animal saturated fat. So meme is saying that they read that dairy saturated fat has mostly short or medium chain fatty acid links, which has neutral or lower risk toward heart disease. Short and medium chain fatty acids are actually born to be burned. Think about medium chain triglycerides, medium chain fatty acids. Those are medium chains are like coconut. They're like C10s. They have 10 carbons or 12 carbons. Or goat fat is another one. They are actually small enough. And I'm going to go on deep. This is hard, you guys, to really describe everything. It's almost like my mind is mumbled and jumbled, and half these things you don't know, and I'm connecting dots, and you haven't started with dot 1. I'm catching you at dot 50 and dot 75 and connecting the dots. And I apologize, but there are saturated fats. Saturated fat is either long, medium, or short chains. Okay. Medium chains are like 10 or 12 carbons long, like goat fat, goat milk. And these are small enough to skip being ingested or being made into a chylomicron and shuttled through the lymphatic system and into the blood system. When we eat fat, the liver secretes bile. It's stored in the gallbladder and secreted when we eat fat. If you don't have a gallbladder, it's still secreted by the liver and it still emulsifies fat. Bile emulsifies fat and packages it into a chylomicron that goes up into the thoracic duct and then can get into the bloodstream. Medium and short chain fatty acids kind of skip that. They're born to be burned. A short chain fatty acid is usually from fermentation. Fermentation. Butter, like butyrate and acetate and propionate, they skip the chylomicron altogether and they go out of the portal vein and they get beta oxidized and they get used by the mitochondria. Okay. I don't I don't subscribe meme that the certain long chain fatty acids are more heart provoking than short chain, medium chain. But could it be because they are burned easily? I don't know the answer. These are the things that I love to talk to you about, is like walk through, you know, what's going on. There are people who say, if I just skip saturated fat and only eat plants, so say I'm going to skip saturated fat from animals, but they're still getting saturated fat. Okay. The fact that you eat carbs increases insulin. And when insulin goes up, you actually produce saturated fatty acid, de novo fatty acid production. You guys know that. We get liver production of fat. When insulin is high, it causes fat to be built, to be promoted, to be built up. And that produces saturated fatty acids. Fat diet, like not Summer, Mina said, "Why do I'm afraid of saturated fat?" Well, if you eat a bunch of carbs, you're getting saturated fat. You're making it de novo, lipogenesis, and it causes your body to make it, and sometimes even in higher amounts. So people who don't eat saturated fat are going to make even more. And if you want proof of this, and I've never read all of his studies, but you can go to Dr. Jeff Volek, Volek, and he talks about the saturated diet fat, in our body. If we are not eating saturated fat, our body's going to make even more. Okay. And so, people who think that they're going to avoid these long chain fatty acids like C16s and these elongated C18s, we're actually making palmitic acid, that the C16. And that is from high carb diets. And there you go with the VLDL, which packages up triglycerides. And then I'm always telling you guys, check your triglycerides, check your triglycerides. What is your triglyceride to HDL ratio? If you are following a low carb diet, your triglycerides should be low and your HDL should be high and your small dense LDLs should be low. There is a subset of population that has high small dense LDLs, and you go, oh my gosh, why? That's the whole process of your liver maybe having down-regulated LDL receptors. I know it sounds complicated, but it isn't just a one size fits all, and everybody should just go on a cholesterol medicine. Okay. Melanie, if I did not explain to you everything that you need, please let me know and I can text it to you. Or um, Mina, I apologize. Instagram keeps throwing everybody off. And so if you have an answer, or excuse me, if you have a question, I can try to answer it again. Staying keto. After today's episode, when will it go on YouTube? It's on there right now. And it should, it depends on how long it takes to process it. But by the end of the day, staying keto, it'll be there. I do apologize. I can't apologize for something I didn't do. So I'm apologizing for Instagram. Vanessa says, I did the advanced lipo test. Oh, lipo A and lipo B. How do you help the lipo B number? Lipo B. Do you mean APO B and APO A? I'm not understanding. Vanessa, go to your labs and get the exact whatever it is. Staying Keto says, are you able to repeat my question? I can't remember. I can't remember your question. It was about the xanthomas, right? And the high LDL. We just got done talking about it. Were you here? Did you hear about the liver? I'm hoping you did. I hope you did. Because that was pretty deep. That would be the time you go to YouTube and watch the whole thing from start to finish. Kimber, type 1 diabetic for 34 years, congenital HD, now in advanced heart failure with pulmonary hypertension, refuse statins, but would take everything else, set goals to lose weight, no carbs and sugar, OMAD, eating. Okay, awesome. Okay. Your situation is complicated, but not really. Kimber, everybody needs insulin or we would die. Type 1 diabetics need insulin and everybody else needs insulin or we would die. We just have a tendency to have too much. The reason we have too much is because we eat too many things that raise blood sugar that we need insulin to take care of. So as a type 1 diabetic, you are basically your own beta cell pancreas. You hold the injector. You are a beta cell with a thumb. If you eat a bunch of carbs, you need more thumb work to push insulin into your body. Whereas a person who has functioning beta cells will do it on their own. You eat carbs, pancreas beta cell releases insulin. Kimber is thumb and injecting insulin into the body. She is her, or he is their own pancreatic beta cell. In order to lower the insulin, insulin is inflammatory. Insulin is causing a problem for heart disease. Insulin is causing fluid volume retention. That is pressure. So Kimber not only has pressure in her arteries, I'm guessing a she. I am sorry if Kimber might be a boy. I was gonna say them. Okay, so they have high pressure, not only in the arteries, but pressure in the pulmonary vein. This causes backup. Now we get heart failure, liver failure, all of it's backing up. So Kimber and everybody else out there needs to keep insulin low. That means less sugar provoking fuel, less stress, less cortisol, less adrenaline, which is fight or flight, epinephrine, norepinephrine. Keeping that heal the body. Pressure comes down, water is released, bad pathologic water is released. Heart goes, whew, okay? Hopefully it's not damaged beyond belief, right? So heart function can come up. We can check it by ejection fraction, get an echo, an ultrasound of our heart, and we can check the ejection fraction with every pump of the heart. And we want ejection fraction to go from 40 to 50, or maybe in Kimber's, it's 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, okay? We want that ejection fraction, that heart function, that's left ventricular, and then we want the filling pressure, which is diastolic, to get better. So we don't want the heart under pressure to fill up so we can pump it out. So we got two parts of the heart working in tandem. So in the big giant picture for a type 1 or anybody else is to keep as much insulin as low as possible to take care of what we are eating. We want an insulin level between 3 and 5. I mean, I have had diabetics come to me that are dosing 90 units of insulin. 90. Think how much sugar is in the body that requires 90 units. That is a lot. Okay. They are not metabolically stable at all. So, what Kimber has done is they have gone to a low no carb diet, requiring very, very, very little, just enough insulin to be thriving and surviving. They eat one meal a day. They're probably exercising, and they said they feel fantastic. And they are the person who's going to scare a doctor and say, how did you do it? What magic did you do? No magic. I just took away the illness. I took away what was causing me to be ill. Your medicines suck. I'm taking away what made me get sick. Okay? Your medicines are making me sicker. They're just going to make me die faster. Okay? Because they have side effects. Fix the metabolic environment. Exactly what Kimber did. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that story. That is helping other people out here know that they can reverse this stuff, you guys. It can be reversed. Started taking high olive oil. Jeez. Extra virgin. Sorry, Jiminy Christmas. All these mnemonics I get. So started taking extra virgin olive oil, which is monounsaturated fat. Monounsaturated fat probably in place of so much saturated fat, but just some monounsaturated fat, just even the score a little bit. Maybe Kimber is one of those people who the liver isn't receptive to LDLs. Okay, they're getting back up. There's a traffic jam. So not as to take on empty stomach. All of my cholesterol has come down significantly. I'm so excited for my endo to see my results. You know what, Kimber? If they're not excited like we are for you, don't take it personally. They've just you just attacked their ego. Intermittent fasting, doing OMAD for about 18 years, kind of gave up during COVID, gained some weight. Sorry to hear that. There they go. There goes Instagram. Uh, don't know. Mr. Chieferton says, in your opinion, what are 2 to 3 vitamins or supplements most people should take? Obviously, diet and exercise should be used first. Okay, good point. But people can still be deficient. Curious as to your take. Oh my gosh, this is a deep question, Mr. Chieferton or Shefferton. I'm not sure which it is. I'm going to call you Chief, Mr. Chief. Here's where we get into problems. We get into problems by taking supplements when we don't need the supplements. We get into problems when we need the supplement because our diet sucks, and then we get into trouble. So let me just give you an examples, and then maybe that will help you. I don't necessarily think I can answer your question, 2 to 3 vitamins or minerals or whatever that can help. I'm just going to give you just some thoughts, and I've gone over these thoughts before, and I would just want you to just maybe tuck these away. We have been taught that vitamin D levels, if they're a certain level, require vitamin D. And we just go take vitamin D and we don't check our levels. And if we do check our levels, we're only checking inactive vitamin D, which is okay, but it's not good enough. We really need to get a ratio and not really there. We need to get your active vitamin D. We need to know what your active vitamin D is and your inactive vitamin D. You could have a ton of inactive vitamin D, but not all of it converts to active vitamin D. Now, if you start taking a whole bunch of high dose vitamin D, what does this do to magnesium? Well, magnesium is needed for vitamin D. It is needed to activate vitamin D and transport it. So if you are taking a whole bunch of inactive vitamin D, upping your level, do you think you could run out of magnesium to take care of the activation of the vitamin D and to transport it? The answer is yes. So then your thought process is, I'll just take magnesium. Well, this could lead to problems with potassium. If Let's go back. You took high dose vitamin D. You consumed a lot of your magnesium. You also caused gut absorption of calcium. Now you have calcium floating around in your bloodstream. High vitamin D, high calcium in the bloodstream because of low magnesium. Okay, it wasn't transported, it wasn't activated, but now you have this calcium sitting around in your bloodstream. You guys, do you want calcium situated in your bloodstream, looking for a place to fill a gap or an injury to calcify it and cause a, yeah, not, I don't think that you want that. Okay, how does it affect potassium? Okay, high doses of vitamin D consume the magnesium. We need magnesium to keep the kidneys from leaking potassium. So in essence, low magnesium relates or runs linear with low potassium. Now you got a problem with heart. Also, vitamin D lowers vitamin A. They use the exact same docking station. So are you going to take vitamin A with your high doses of vitamin D? If you flood your system with vitamin D, the docking station for vitamin A can't work. So the receptor, it's not accepting the vitamin A. So it goes down. And then what happens with vitamin A? If vitamin A is low, what happens to copper? Oh, well, low vitamin A leads to low copper. So now are you going to take copper? Likely not. Also, a lot of people out there are not only taking vitamin D, but they're taking zinc. Okay. What does zinc do to copper? Well, zinc stimulates gut metallothionein or metallothionein, and that grabs copper and it prevents it from being absorbed. Now we got a low copper problem. What does that do to iron? It traps iron in the liver. Well, do we want it in the liver? No, we don't. It oxidizes and rusted. Now we're rusting out our major organ in our body. So not only are people being told to take high doses of vitamin D, or they do it on their own because they think it's good for their immune system and everything else, they're taking high doses of zinc for their immune system. And then they're being told to take high doses of vitamin C. What does C do to copper? It lowers it. So what do we need copper for? Well, if we didn't have copper, we don't have elastin and collagen. And a deficiency makes our arteries, like our heart arteries, our neck arteries, brittle and more prone to cracks and injuries. And that's where a plaque forms. A blood clot makes a soft plaque, which gets hardened or calcified, hopefully. So this, Mr. Chief Tieferton, is why I can't just say, in my opinion, what are 2 or 3 vitamins or supplements that most people should take. Do you see where we get into a domino effect of supplementation? And we can cause more problems than we were, bargaining for. I know that is a lot, and there's much, much more. Okay. There's calcium and potassium, and there's, all the minerals are so important. They're important for our thyroid. Many people have subclinical thyroid problems, subclinical, where the doctor says, you don't have a thyroid problem. And you go, but I feel like I have a thyroid problem. I'm weak. I'm tired. My skin is dry. My hair's falling out. I'm constipated. I'm all these things. No, you're fine. Your TSH is 2.0 or it's 3.9. It's under 4, so you're fine. Well, you didn't check the free T3. You didn't check the free T4. You didn't check a reverse T3. You didn't check a TG, and you didn't check a TPO. And they didn't check whether or not you have enough selenium, whether you have enough iodine. So, you guys, there are so many minerals, so many vitamins. Can we get everything from our diet? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Without checking, I'm just not sure. Is my diet supplementing everything? I'm, there was a time when I first went carnivore. All I ate was meat and eggs. That's all. I mean, 2 meals a day, 1 meal a day. That's all I ate. Well, I felt fantabulous, you guys. Fantabulous. That was fantastic and fabulous at the same time. Fantabulous. That's my word. I don't know if it's a dictionary word. It might be now because I said it. But fantabulous. Energy, brain function, sleep, everything was great. And my strength in the gym, great. Well, then I just got old, like with it. And I said, how come I don't feel like I did when I was just completely meat and eggs? And I start thinking, you know what? I bet I was feeling good because I took away chips and salsa, and I took away cottage cheese, and I took away 1/2 of a bun, which I would use it to hold my hamburger. I would eat it dry with a bun, a baby bun, sometimes just enough for my fingers to grab onto, right? Well, but it's still a standard American diet. I would still eat some ice cream every so often. I would still go out for pizza every so often. So I was eating a standard crapola diet. Dr. Jensen word, crapola. Probably a definition now in the dictionary. So I was eating this diet, and then I went to carnivore and felt fantabulous. And everything was going grand. And then maybe my sleep got a little off. Maybe I got a little bit of sluggishness. Not really, but maybe a little bit. And I thought to myself, could I be deficient? How did I first start knowing? I'll tell you, I was cold. I'm not just saying cold. I was bone chilling cold, could not sweat. I'm not telling you not to do an animal-based diet. I'm telling you that maybe, just maybe, my meat and my eggs did not supply enough. So I looked up bone chilling cold. I'm talking bone chilling. Hat 24/7. I didn't sleep in it, so not 24/7, but just cold, not able to sweat. So I looked it up. Thyroid. Thyroid was fine. Kept going, kept digging holes deeper, 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 right? Came to copper, came to selenium, came to iodine. And I dug deep, did some investigation, replaced some of my deficiencies with more organ meats and more fish and a tiny bit of chicken. I eat it every once in a while. And then everything started to click. I started sweating in the gym. When you're not sweating, you guys, and you're bone chilled cold, your mitochondria, that is a sign your mitochondria aren't even, they're sleeping. They are sleeping soundly. They are not working. You're under, I mean, it's really amazing when I see people who have such low mitochondrial function and they're still functioning. And I was one of those people. My energy was still really pretty good. I just couldn't figure out why I was so cold. And then I would heat up. I'd wear more and more clothes. Well, that helped. But I thought being cold was actually increasing my metabolism when my metabolism, my mitochondrial function was like zero probably. I added back these foods, and I'm the doctor, you guys. I should know these things. But I added back, I didn't say I added back carbs. Did you hear me say I added any carbs back? No. But I added back more broth, more organ meat, and I did increase my consumption of omega-3s through sardines. I'll eat a little bit of fish if I go out to eat, but again, I rarely go out to eat. But sardines, wild caught sardines, I can eat out of a can any day. Okay? So that's what I started to do. And wow, it made the difference. So my body was doing good for 2, 3 years because I wasn't eating crapola. But over time, then I started seeing the deficiencies. Is it where I needed to add in through 2 to 3 vitamins, Mr. Chief? No, I didn't. I just added in a little bit more variety. And maybe, just maybe, like staying keto, staying keto needs to replace some of the saturated fat with monounsaturated fat. Maybe Mr. Staying Keto or Mrs. Staying Keto just needs to back off on saturated fat. Their body just doesn't do as well. And switch over to some monounsaturated, just lower saturated fat in general, and watch the numbers come down. Is it written in stone? Am I a Dave Feldman, Nick Norwitz guru and doing all these studies? No, all I can do is read about it. And all I can do is try to use my brain and try to think through all of the scenarios. Okay? With you guys. Okay, I want to do this with you guys. Help me. Okay? Mr. Chief, I hope that answered your question. Lucy says, QQQ parasites. I heard some test won't even show. How do you remove them? Well, I mean, you're breathing the air, Lucy. Maybe you're always going to have parasites. I don't know. Maybe they will just live in our body rent free. I don't know. But I think if we give them food, they're going to be alive. If we don't feed them, they don't live very long. Makes sense? I mean, that just seems like, um, yeah, I don't know, Penny. I don't know if parasitic infections are frequent or infrequent or rare. I don't know. Lucy is looking up mad honey for parasites. It's a dark reddish honey produced from the nectar and pollen of the genus Rhododendron and has moderately toxic and narcotic effects. I will pass. Yeah, it doesn't sound like I want to do that either. Melanie says approximately. So Melanie knows there's not a written in stone number of saturated fat grams that we should contain in a day. I don't know the answer, Melanie. What I can say is that most women, men too, we don't eat enough fat. I would say, I remember when I was bodybuilding, my goal was 70 grams of fat. And now my goal is 100 grams of fat. Do I count them? No. I just know about what 100 grams looks like. Okay. And I kind of go from there. If I start, well, honestly, Melanie, you know what you could do is look at your LDL. Get an LDL on 100 grams and get an LDL on 50 grams of fat. Okay. And see what those LDLs, get an NMR. I mean, I hate spending your money, but if you really wanted to know how your body processes fat, we spent an hour and 15 minutes talking about how the liver is processing our fat and what we can do. But if your liver is sick, Melanie, I know yours isn't, but if you have an insulin resistant fatty liver, you know what? Your liver is not working and you are at very, very high risk of heart disease and strokes. Okay. 1910. I am definitely not a wizard. I am a born again, Jesus following Christian. And I take a lot of notes. So I'm not necessarily as smart as you think. I'm just well read. And I try to connect dots. That's how my brain works. My brain works by connecting dots, trying to figure something out. I don't enjoy anymore just being told this is the way it is and this is the way it's always going to be. I was already there. I did that for years and years and years through medical, through undergrad, then through medical school, then through residency, then through 20 years of my practice. I learned you tell me and I'll follow the guideline. I'll follow the recipe and I won't get hurt. Nobody can sue me and I'll get paid. Because that's really what standard of care is. If a doctor wants to get paid, they follow standard of care guidelines, insurance companies pay them. If an insurance company finds out that the doctor is not treating your LDL, the doctor gets docked, does not get paid. Okay? It's as simple as that. This is medicine today. They see 130, you get a statin. If you do not fill your statin, doctor gets docked. The insurance companies know when prescriptions are filled. Obviously, they're paying for them, unless, of course, you paid cash. Now, insurance companies not involved. So if you want to be off the grid, don't use your insurance. Summer Love says, I genuinely need to cut the carbs completely. The more I listen, the more I realize it's destructive and not worth it at all in the end. You know where I hear it from people say, I want to live. I just want to live. Doctor, I don't need your advice. I hear what you're saying. You're trying to save the world by telling carbs are poisonous, which they are. They're all plants and plants are poisonous. All plants have toxins. You can boil them and fry them and degrade them. And then all of the nutrients that you thought you were getting are gone because you boiled it, because you tried to get rid of the anti-nutrients of oxalates, phytates, tannins, saponins, and everything in between. You tried to get rid of them all. So you did the thing. And now the very reason why you were eating the plant was because you wanted to get the nutrients. Well, they're all gone. You boiled them out, you heated them out, you bleached them out, you did whatever, you got them out. Okay. Um, so I don't know. There are some people who are very, very, very insulin sensitive and they can eat carbs. They can process them. Their muscles, they have very wide open doors on their muscles. Their muscles are big and giant and hungry sponges, and they're eating some sugar. But just keep in mind that every time we spike sugar, if a person was just eating a tiny little bit of sugar and a little bit of sugar and a little bit of sugar, then the body probably can take care of it, especially one that exercises and sleeps good, is under no stress and gets out in the sun and has big muscles. All of those things, a perfect environment, they can eat carbs and they can use them for fuel and they can use ketones for fuel. They're very flexible. And then there's the 75% of the population who is not flexible. All they eat is sugar. They're very insulin resistant. They have no muscle. They don't exercise. They are under 5G lights and EMF and everything else. I mean, it's a terrible environment. So if you already know you're sick, you just need to probably do the opposite of what you're doing now. Okay. Instead of a blue light, you go an amber light. Instead of carbs, you go a protein and fat. Instead of no sun, you get sun. Instead of no sleep, you get sleep. Instead of bad friends, you get good friends. I mean, just do the opposite. Um, okay. Wow, that was deep. That was deep about the doctors. Come to Canada. It's so much more fun here. Totally kidding. Kimber, I do see some clients from Canada and I don't hear anything really good, but there are people that I know that are in Canada and they absolutely love it. So, okay. Kimber says, I've been doing what I can exercise-wise, aquafit, rebounding on a mini trampoline. It's made a huge difference. Keep going. But you need muscle, Kimber, and bouncing on or doing aquafit, lifting, I'm guessing that is lifting sponges full of water in water is not going to get you there. You're going to advance past that. You need more strength training. You need heavier weights, not just bouncing around on a rebounder. Although I think that's great for lymphatic flow, so do it. But yes, you need muscle. Muscle is the organ of longevity, and I'm guessing Kimber is aging as we are talking, 1 minute at a time. So yes, it's made a huge difference until it won't. So you can continue doing it, but you need to stimulate your muscles to grow. They need to grow. Muscles need to grow. Let's see. David asks, how dangerous is the medication known as Vyvanse? So basically, that is a stimulant. It is stimulating your brain and everything else, although it is extended release, it's long acting. It's a stimulant for your whole body, but it's stimulating your brain to wake up. But at the same time, it's stimulating your heart. It's stimulating the sympathetic nervous system. So you have a decreased parasympathetic nervous system, which could increase your risk of heart disease, heart attacks. So you have to ask yourself, David, why do you need to take a medicine to wake up your brain? How about you take away what is putting it to sleep? What is causing your brain to go to sleep that you need to take a stimulant to wake it up, that it can't just stay awake on its own? That would be my question. Why add something that is very dangerous, or can be? Although they'll tell you, oh, you know what, compared to everything else, it's pretty safe. Well, I don't want to compare it to everything else. It's still a danger. Putting a chemical in your body that is doing something opposite of what your body is supposed to be doing. So you have decided to take your own biologic and physiologic mechanisms in your body, pathways, and mess around with it. You're going to wake up something that was sleeping, that wanted to sleep, and it didn't want to wake up. And you're putting to sleep what needs to wake up. I mean, there's a lot going on. Lucy. Okay. Lucy, I don't know. You're talking about bloating with Penny. Okay, I'll let that go. Okay. Uh, okay, Jerry, thank you. YouTube videos should be up in less than 10 minutes after you end. If you are watching live, you can actually go back during the live and start from the beginning. Okay. Thank you, Jerry. I am a production team of one, so I do appreciate everybody who helps out. Yes, Millicent, I agree. Eating too often keeps insulin too high. It never has a chance to go back down. Anytime we spike blood sugar, we are getting glycation. Anytime blood sugar goes up, we are glycating. We glycate, glucose glycates protein, fructose glycates protein, lactose, but fructose glycates 10 times faster. So for those of you who are eating fructose, you are glycating and aging and oxidizing your cells faster than glucose. So and your insulin is staying up. Even though people say fructose does not raise insulin, I don't know, it's still glycating. It's still damaging all of your cells. It's glycating them. You're aging, you're getting wrinkles, you're rusting inside your body when you eat fructose. It's hard to follow the keto diet, Doc, especially if you're a vegan or vegetarian. Not really. Not really. You're vegan and vegetarian. The way you get into ketosis is by limiting your sugars, right? And you can eat vegan and vegetarian and keep blood sugars down. And you can eat fat. You can get essential fatty acids, and um, you can get all of that. You don't necessarily have to just remain on ALA fatty acids. You can actually take EPA and DHA from certain elgan oils. So I think you can do that. I think you can be in ketosis. I really do. I think I mean, maybe you're just not getting in enough fat. If you aren't taking in sugar and your insulin is low, if honestly, here it is. If your insulin is high, no, you cannot get into ketosis. But if your insulin is low, in the 3 to 5 range, you will be in ketosis. Okay, you will be burning fatty acids as fuel, as energy. So, no, I don't think once you are fat adapted, you do not need carbs. Okay. I exercise every single day. I've exercised every day since I was out of the womb, I'm sure. But I've been exercising, lifting weights and exercising since I was in high school, probably a sophomore in high school. So I've been doing it a long time, for years. Okay. And I've never had a problem with lifting weights and doing my workouts. In fact, they're better. They're better than ever before. Now, my muscles are aging and their ability to recuperate is much, much lower. And that's why I take in even more protein and more fat so I can keep them fed. Yes, yes, Lucy. Every time we eat, every time insulin is released. Therefore, if you snack or eat frequently, not allowing your body to digest or get the insulin back down, you are becoming insulin resistant. I agree. All right. You guys, I'm not restarting the Instagram. They're done. They just went offline. So, is fasting insulin blood test important? Absolutely, Jack. It is one of the main labs you should be getting, a fasting insulin. Mm. I just had my physical and I had to fight my doctor to get him to order it. Result was 2.6. It's fine, Jack. I'm sorry that you had to fight your doctor just to get a lab that you're paying for with your own insurance. I think sometimes, Jack, that maybe, just maybe, your doctor takes a hit whenever they order labs that are not on formulary, so to speak. So your doctor probably had to pay for them out of their pool. Um, Penny says, cut the carbs below 20 grams per day, add bone broth to help heal your gut. Start the day and end the day with something, eat beef, take or add electrolytes as needed, give at least 2. Okay, you guys must be talking back and forth. Okay. What is the best magnesium? I would say glycinate or threonate. Kathy says vitamin D supplement has kept me off of asthma medications. What is the connection? Probably anti-inflammatory. So it is possible that Kathy was low in vitamin D, but we don't know. We don't know what, it's a fat soluble vitamin. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, Kathy has a lot of body fat. The vitamin D that Kathy did have was actually being sequestered, so it wasn't being used. So Kathy had to over and above take vitamin D in order to help with the immune system, the anti-inflammation. I mean, that's all like that. I mean, asthma is inflammatory and it's spasm of the muscle layers. What is the vitamin D doing to the mucus? What does vitamin D do to inflammation? What does vitamin D do to muscle contraction and smooth muscle contraction? So that's the connection, I'm guessing, Kathy. You know, maybe your calcium was low, the vitamin D increased to the calcium just what you needed for muscle contraction. I'm not sure. I'm just talking out of my head right now. I don't even know the mechanism, to be honest. I would have to look it up. But thanks for the question. Um, Lucy says, I started using the D Minder app and having been checking how much vitamin D I am getting while in the sun. How much is it? How much are you getting, Lucy? Uh, Yeah, 1910, I agree. Getting, you and Jack had to get the doc to order it, but yeah, it does give a great peace of mind. Javier, I don't know what the right amount of vitamin D supplement is too much. I would get a level, get an active and an inactive level. Okay, so get an inactive vitamin D and get an active calcitriol vitamin D. Um, QQQ, what do you feel when your vitamin A is low? Well, I guess when the vitamin A, remember vitamin A leads to, if it's low, it leads to low copper. So again, when I added back the sardines, which is high in vitamin A, then the copper probably went up. Okay. And then when the copper went up, then the mitochondria started working again. So just food for thought with that. Mm. Javier, am I against multivitamins? I am, because a lot of the things in there that we don't know, they're all synthetic, and I would rather get mine from food. Multivitamins, just one, it's full of folic acid. Folic acid, 49% of the people in the world probably do not metabolize folic acid into the active form of methylated folate. So you're getting toxic buildup of folic acid. Also, the iron in it is non-heme iron. It's synthetic non-heme iron. And I would venture to guess from all of the crapola processed food diet and the multivitamins that people are taking, they have iron overload, non-heme iron overload, iron trapping in the organs, oxidation, rusting going on in their cells. No, I don't. I guess I can't recommend that anybody, and this is not medical advice, okay? This is for information purposes only. I am a doctor, but I'm not your doctor. You're a patient, you're not my patient. This is for information purposes only. But I can't recommend multivitamins, even if you were my patient and I was your doctor. But no, I can't recommend them to take synthetically. I would change your diet. Lucy says, get your nutrients from eggs, beef, fish, chicken, butter, get sun, ground, meditate, pray, all of those things. I agree. Yeah, thank you, Lucy. If you guys want to schedule a consultation, email me at ironladydoc@aol.com and we can review all of your labs. We can go over your scans, we can go over your lifestyle and go over everything. So if you want, you can start or sign up for a consultation by emailing me at iron lady LADY Iron Lady Doc. Thank you, Amber. Thanks for being here. Amber's new. You guys, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit the thumbs up today. Hit the subscribe button so you get notifications when I'm on board or when a reel comes up. Um, let's see. Summer asks, is there a way to get extensive blood work done for everything? I have no primary care doc or anything, but I would love to check everything if possible and talk to you about it. I can email you a list of labs, but honestly, I mean, you're looking at $400 for labs, and that is at my discount. And I use Ulta Labs. Don't go to Ulta unless and order them on your own. That would be $1,000. But if I ordered them through Ulta, depending on what state you're in, I don't know. There's certain states I can't order in, but I can order you labs and then you can pick and choose. You could also go to ownyourlabs.com and order your own labs. You can also go to lifeextensionlabs.com and order your own labs. So you don't need a primary care doc. You just have to, you'll have to pay out of pocket. If you have an HSA, you can use that your credit card, but I don't know if your insurance will accept that. It seems like they would, but who knows? Yeah, Amber, I agree. That's what most docs will default to. Yeah, your thyroid's fine. Your thyroid's fine. And then you got all the symptoms and you're saying, yeah, but uh well, well I don't know what's going on with you. You're probably depressed, and then they give you an antidepressant. I mean, it's crazy, really, to be honest. Mr. Irfan says, "Is medicine actually a cure?" I can't see that it is. I mean, I'm sure that there are certain times and places when we need medications, but they are for the most part blocking or changing normal biologic or physiologic pathways in our body. For the most part. Yeah, I think that too, Millicent. I really think that our bodies are very intelligent and they will heal themselves. God did not make a mistake. Mm, yep, I can order those as well. Lucy, I can order those labs if you email me. For summer. Yeah, summer. If you email me at ironladydoc@aol.com, I can send you the list or I can order them for you. Yeah. Millicent says autophagy for infection is a strategy that is working. Also, a suggestion for cancer treatment and recovery. I agree. I mean, there's something said about why diseases are occurring so rapidly because we eat so much. We are not meant to eat as many times a day as we do. One, two times a day is all that we really need. If you're eating nutrient rich foods, that I we eat way too much. Um, yeah, Jerry, I don't know about parasite cleanses, but if you're doing something that encourages parasites to grow and you do a cleanse, you'll get rid of them. But are you getting rid of the eggs? Are you getting rid of the newbies that come and live rent free in your body? Are you going to continuously do a a cleanse, or are you just going to stop feeding them the foods that they love to eat? I suggest the latter. Hello, RM. Thank you for being here. RM is also a Blue Shield, a moderator today. And thank you, Lucy, for the kudos. I appreciate it. Yeah, doctors do need to change. Well, they are going to change. AI is going to take their place. That's what I call a big change. Don't you think? If we allow what's happening to occur, there's not going to really be a need for a surgeon. You'll have robots stitching your fingers back on and replacing your hips pretty soon. I don't know if it'll be in our lifetime. I don't know. We've been talking about these things for a long time. Okay. Yeah, Millicent, that's right. Okay. So Jack says, I was a bodybuilder when I was younger. I was too. And I ate carbs nonstop. I did too. Muscle does indeed soak up the sugar. It did. However, this is what I think about now, Jack. I think about how we ate all the time, multiple meals a day. And I didn't eat any carbs when I was dieting for shows, but when I wasn't dieting for shows, I still ate multiple times a day. And yes, I ate carbs. And yes, I had pretty big muscles. The thing is, I was still glycating. I was still raising mTOR and never letting it come down. I was never in autophagy. I caused a lot of aging and a lot of destruction of my mitochondria, not even knowing it. I was young and we could do those things because you're young and you can get by. But when you get older, you start realizing how much you destroyed your body. I didn't know. I do now. I won't go back to doing that. And I can't take back, but I can teach somebody moving forward. I can teach Jack, who can teach Jim, who can teach Helen, who can teach all of these things and say, hey, eating all the time, anytime you eat, raises mTOR. And if mTOR is always going on, it's growth. You're growing cancer, you're growing cells, you're growing muscles. Yeah, it's great for growing muscles, mTOR and insulin. But when they're high all the time, you're growing other things too, things that you don't want. And your body is aging fast. It never has cleanup. It never has maid service. The janitor is never coming to your home and cleaning things up. You're storing away garbage in your empty, unused bedrooms, and it's piling up. until you have to take the trash out at some point. So yeah, I allowed a lot of trash probably to build up. I did not have autophagy. Maid service never came. Janitors never cleaned up. And I probably had a lot of destruction. And that destruction is probably evident in my bones and my joints. My joint health destroyed. Okay. Not just from lifting heavy weights, they were, but destroying my body with eating, with the food I put in, with all of the processed protein powders and the vitamins and minerals and juice pluses and everything that you can think about. I was on. I was on every supplement, creatine, carnitine, carnosine, all of them, every one of them. Okay. I took a handful every day. Okay. Yes, RM. This is for health information purposes only. This is not medical advice. I don't know the answer to that, rocking killer. I don't know why we allow that GMO. I don't know. It's a way to make money. And as long as there's a demand, people are demanding it. That's why there is it. Supply and demand, it's economics. If there is people out there who demand it, there'll be people out there who supply it. The minute the demand goes away, something else will pop up. Oh, that's great. Lucy says on the D-Minder app, she was out in the sun for 40 minutes yesterday and got 1.9 thousand. So almost 2,000 IUs of vitamin D. That's cool. Oh, good, 1910. 1910 says FSA and HSAs are pretty generous in what they pay for. You can even get, I know they can get compression socks, but sometimes 1910, in order for HSA or FSA to pay for it, they have to get a prescription from their doctor to say that the doctor thinks that you need compression socks, which you do. The silliness that goes on. It just makes you giggle. It really does. All the oversight, it just makes one giggle. Um, Bexa, I would have to look into how to reverse your MCAS, but usually diet is a big one. I would definitely stay away from fermented foods, aged steaks, aged cheeses. Get away from anything that can really raise histamine, but it would need to be looked into. I'm not even remotely well versed in MCAS. I really don't know. I apologize. I'm not able to answer your question to the best of my ability or the best of your ability. I want to get everything checked, even if I have to save the money for them. You let me know, Summer. Save up and let me know. Yeah, I Pink, that's a good question. What do you think about low white blood cells without any real diagnosis? I would think about where are white blood cells originating, okay? And then I would check, is there a health? Do you have a lifelong virus? Do you have mold exposure? You might get low white blood cell counts with these things instead of high, okay? And yeah, that is an interesting thought, and I haven't connected dots on that either, okay? Were you weightlifting? I was, I still do. I've weightlifted since I was 15 years old, I believe. I think I was a sophomore in high school. What is the new bracelet next to your watch? It's not new. It is, oh, this is my hair tie, but this is not new. It's stainless steel and gold plated, and it has a magnet in it, and I've never taken it off. And I started wearing it. I've gotten new ones. In this, I've gotten a new one probably 3 times now. I've gotten a new one because I think they wear out. And I started originally taking it probably 30 years ago because my shoulder was hurting. Yep. That you're welcome, Pink. I just don't know. It's a curious thing though, I will say. Are there blood tests, urine tests for BPA or plastics? Jack, I don't know that either. I've never looked into it. I would think there are, but I don't know. I don't know if it's a urine or a hair or blood. I'm not sure. All right. Let's see. Do you guys hear Tootsie? She's talking to me. She's talking to me in the boat. Tootsie has an attitude. Um, Yen, have you ever had low iron issues? Have I? I don't believe so. Go lay down. Go lay down. She talks back. She is a talker backer. She's like a little adolescent kid. To answer your question, have I had low iron? No. Do you really have low iron? Remember, get adequate labs. Get an iron level, serum iron, a transferrin, a ferritin, a TIBC, and an iron saturation. Get liver function, ALT, AST, GGT, ELK phos. Make sure your liver is functioning well. Make sure your thyroid is functioning well. You could have iron trapping. What if you were the one taking a whole bunch of vitamin D, which lowered your vitamin A, which lowered your copper, which drove your iron into your liver, and now you have iron trapping? Get a ceruloplasmin level. Get you can get a hepcidin level, hepcidin, 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 or maybe it's IN. I can't remember. Hepcidin level. Get a hepcidin level. Maybe you don't have iron deficiency at all. Maybe you have iron overload. That would be something, wouldn't it? Your hemoglobin's fine, your hematocrit's fine, but your iron and your ferritin, your doctor's just getting a ferritin level. It says it's low. Take your iron. You're taking more non-heme iron, which is causing more of a problem. Non-heme iron is maybe 3% absorbed. So then they tell you to make sure you're taking with vitamin C. Well, there you go. What does vitamin C do to copper? What does vitamin C do to vitamin A? Now you get you take vitamin C, you think you're absorbing the non-heme iron, and now you're causing it to all drive into the liver where it's getting trapped. And when you have iron trapped in tissues, what is it going to do? Over time, it's going to rust. It oxidizes. It rusts. It's in a nice environment of water and oxygen. A metal in water and oxygen rusts. So you get iron rusting in your body just because you were told that your iron is low. It is not. It's just in the wrong place. It's called dysregulation. Not low, not high. It's a crazy thing. Okay. Oh, you're very welcome, Purple Flower. Thank you for being here. And you subscribed and you liked it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Jack, I don't know, available to the public, but Brian Johnson, longevity protocol guy, did a thing on dry sauna and microplastics, blood. Oh, thank you, 1910. Thank you. So sauna's a great thing. Sweating sweats out toxins, right? So maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Unless, of course, you have autoimmune disorders and then you don't want to sweat, it'll lock you up. One of my very, very good friends, I don't know if he's listening right now. We went to college together. He's got MS. He says if he gets into the heat and he's in a sweating situation, he can't even move his body. He feels like he's frozen from his muscles being locked up. Crazy. So don't jump into things that you don't know about. Just test the waters first. Oh yeah, Jack. Jack's iron levels went way up after using cast iron skillets for too long. And Jack, is non-heme iron. You are not absorbing it. You're not using it. And you likely were taking vitamin C for years and you just worsened everything. But, you stop the iron, the non-heme iron, and hopefully your body is able to get rid of or absorb some of that iron. I don't know. I mean, iron trapping is huge. There's a doctor out there who treats iron overload with copper. I'm not recommending that, but Purple Flower, thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, that one's a cute one. A little turtle drinking. What is it drinking? I didn't see it. Thank you for the super sticker. That one was a fun one. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. You guys, thank you for the super stickers and the super chats. It makes this channel go around, but I especially like those super stickers. They're fun. I've never seen that one before. How cool is that turtle? That turtle was really cool, Summer Love. I appreciate that. Good, good, good. Okay. I don't think there's any more questions. If you were on Instagram and you went over to YouTube, to hear this recorded version of Saturday live Q&A with Dr. J's Prescription for Health. That's me. I'm Dr. J, Dr. Malia Jensen. I'm a board certified family physician, in case you don't know me. I've been in practice for 27 years, going on 28 here and coming up in June. I went to medical school, and in Des Moines, Iowa. I went to DO medical school, so I went to osteopathic medical school, but I took MD boards and I took an MD residency. So I'm kind of an oddball. Some of my medical school classmates went to residency with me. So we are all DOs going to an MD residency, and we all took MD boards. So it's not unheard of, but we're kind of oddballs. And it's actually a good thing. I got osteopathic training in medical school, and then just like every other residency or boards, you're taking the exact same curriculum. So DOs and MDs get the same training, the same indoctrination, so to speak. So yeah, I got training from both sides, MD and DO, and there are a lot of doctors who are out there that do that. It just depends on what city they're in and where they want to stay. There was not a DO residency here in Des Moines, and I'm not going to travel to go take DO boards. So I just stayed in town, and I've been here for 30 years. So it's been great. All right, you guys. So thanks for listening. Lord willing, I will be back tomorrow, Sunday, for live Q&A, and it's at 10 a.m. on Sundays, 9 a.m. on Saturdays, and that's Central Time. If you want to email me for a list of labs that are pertinent, then let me know, and I can email that back to you, just a general list, and hopefully your doctor can order some of them. And otherwise, I can order the rest, but try to get as much paid for it with your insurance as possible. If you have an HSA or an FSA, I guess it doesn't matter. Summer Love, thank you for the super sticker, super chat. I appreciate it. And Jerry, stumbled across your live, subscribe, love the information. Thank you, Jerry. Keep coming back. I'll be back tomorrow. If I Oh my goodness, Tootsie is so shrill. Okay. All right, we'll end it because Tootsie is going haywire. Um, Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central. Catch my lives, catch my reels, like, subscribe, do the clickety clack, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, Lord willing. All right, have a great day.